Is Tonya Ankhi Ma'at Poole, and I wrote The Magic of Self-Love. As Sandy mentioned, one of the things that I do through our nonprofit organization, Indigo's Cultural Arts Centers, we have a program called the Healing Wheel Retreat. Now, the jury is still out on when our first Healing Wheel Retreat was, but whenever it was, at that very first Healing Wheel Retreat for Black women, in this sacred space, this is a space where women are coming to be empowered, to come to work through any trauma, to come to regain their self-love and their self-worth. But as we were first developing this retreat, we weren't sure exactly what the women needed in the space. And so as the women were introducing themselves at the Healing Wheel Retreat, they would say these amazing things about themselves, like, I'm a teacher, I'm a community organizer, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm an engineer, I save lives, whatever it is. And then at the end, they would always say something like, but I'm not really worthy of my dreams. But I'm not really worthy of living a good life. But I'm not really worthy of having healthy boundaries, And so it was hitting my ear. Like, this was about 15 women, like one after the other. We all, including myself, had this same self-love issue, right? And I realized that no matter how many accolades we had, no matter what we were accomplishing in life, no matter how hard we worked to be, the perfect person in our families or in our communities or our places of worship at church or wherever, there was still this seed of a lack of self-worth and self-love. And when that lack is there, the boundaries, we become very restricted in our movements. Like, there are chances that we don't take, there are risks that we don't do, there are businesses we don't start because we don't feel worthy. And I looked at this room of women, and I'm like, no, I need these women to be on point, right? I need these women to be fired up about how wonderful and how awesome they are, because this is the collective of women that I'm around, right? And so it actually challenged me to bring all of myself as well. And so I wrote at the Healing Wheel Retreat, I stated out loud, I'm going to write a book called The Magic of Self-Love. And let me tell you, whenever you say something out loud, it's like God really does hear, right? And so after the retreat, I thought, well, I'm just going to go home and, I'll think about it. And it was almost like I could hear God saying to me, like, really, you're going to tell these women you're going to write a book about self-love, and then you don't have enough self-worth in yourself to believe that you can accomplish a task that you spoke out of your mouth? And I was like, oh, okay, let me get to writing then. So I wrote The Magic of Self-Love. And the thing about it is that in the year or so that it took me to write it, I was challenged so much on my own self-worth and my own self-love, my own awareness of my worthiness. I was always worthy, right? But my own awareness of it, because what even writing the book taught me is that you can know a thing logically, but the minute you sit down to write a book, you are saying, I know this thing, or at least I'm on the path to knowing it more and more. And so I felt like I too then had to go on my own journey of self-love, because you can't teach that or write a book on it if you're not fully embodied in it, right? So writing the book was challenging, but such a blessing. And I probably would have finished it in less than a year had I not, gone through my own journey of self-love, of start and stop. And I don't know if I can write this book. Who am I to tell women about self-love? Taking a month off because, just one thought of self-doubt, setting me back for a month of not writing. Right. And so, again, these were just lessons that I learned in writing The Magic of Self-Love. But I'm very proud of this book. And if we have time, I think we do. And Sandy, you can let me know. I did want to read just 2 pages of this book.
Oh, yes, we have time.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
And just to set it up. So around this time, the Dove Soap Company had a commercial where they were showing women. They put these signs outside of like a door of a big, like a department store that had two entrances, right? And so over one door, they put the word beautiful, and over one door, they put the word average. And when I saw this commercial, which I'll talk about in this book, when I saw this commercial, it resonated with what I was hearing myself and the women at the Healing Wheel Retreat say about ourselves. And this is what really prompted me to write the book. And so that's why what I'm about to read to you is actually in the introduction, because it sets it all up. Okay. The introduction to the magic of self-love. Are you average or beautiful? I recently saw a video produced by the Dove Soap Company that really spoke volumes about how women secretly feel about themselves. The scene took place outside of a store that had two entrances. Above one entrance was the word beautiful, and above the other was the word average. Customers wishing to enter the store could choose which door they would use to enter. There were several women who chose to enter the store through the beautiful doorway, but sadly, so many more women willingly chose to enter through the average door. As I watched this video, I was devastated by how many chose to walk through the average doorway. There was no judge outside making the determination for these women or anyone else suggesting that they should walk through one instead of the other. Many women made the conscious decision to walk through the average door. When they were interviewed afterwards, they gave many different reasons for why they made that choice. What they failed to see was that their choice was rooted in a lack of self-love. One woman said that she chose the average door because beautiful seemed too far out of reach for her. Another woman said that her reason for choosing to walk through the average doorway was because she wasn't sure if her choice was based on what society had said is beautiful or if her choice was based on what she truly believed. What was particularly sad about her choice was that she had her daughter with her. And when she walked through the average door, her daughter walked through the average door with her. So now we're talking about generations walking through the average door. Almost all of the women said that they felt bad after choosing to walk through the average doorway because they just couldn't understand why they had rated themselves in such a way. I was so glad to see another mother insist that her daughter walked through the beautiful door when the teenager tried to walk through the average door. All of the women interviewed said that they would walk through the beautiful door if given a second chance. And I included this famous quote from Carter G. Woodson: "When you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. You do not have to tell him not to stand here or go yonder. He will find his proper place and will stay in it. You do not need to send him to the back door. He will go without being told. In fact, if there is no back door, he will cut one for his special benefit. His education makes it necessary." And so I just wanted to share that from the magic of self-love, because again, I had this amazing conversation with myself and other women at this retreat. And then I shortly afterwards saw this commercial from Dove, the Dove Soap Company, about women who were choosing to walk through the average door versus beautiful. And I think what struck me was that we give so many justifications for our choices, our lower self-love choices, our lower self-care choices, right? Like some of the women in the commercial did, right? They said, well, I don't know what beautiful means, so I'll choose average, And I'm thinking to myself, well, you don't know what average means, so why not choose beautiful? But it really shined a light on how often women, we are so amazing, right? We're so amazing. What is it? We make the world go round, right? As Beyonce said, we run the world, right? But, and yet, and still, a lot of times in our hearts and our minds, we choose lesser because we don't want to shine, because we don't want people to think that, I think one woman said that she didn't want others to feel that she thought too much of herself. And I get wanting, to make sure everyone is shining, right? But we came here, you came here to shine your light, right? The world needs you to shine your light. The world needs me to shine my light. I needed to write this book. It is not currently a New York Times bestseller, but we can make that happen today, right? Right. But the women's lives that this book has touched, it has touched their lives. So if I had said, well, I'm not worthy of writing a book, who am I to talk about self-love? Because let me tell you, self-love is a journey. You never get it perfect. But if I had said, who am I to do this work? Then there would be women who would not have been touched by this work, starting with myself. So that is what I want to share about the magic of self-love. You can currently purchase the magic of self-love at my linktree.ee/thetonyapooole. There you will find, it will take you to Amazon if you want to purchase on Amazon. And I am currently recording the audio version of the magic of self-love. And so you can pre-order the audio version or the audio book. Yes, the audio book of the magic of self-love from my Linktree page. That is on my own website.